is Simon Marcotte, CEO of Northern Superior. Northern Superior, as you probably know by now, has been consolidating and advancing the Chibougamau gold camp in Quebec, which we believe is the next camp to take off globally.
Simon, good to see you. In fact, I caught up with you last week briefly, but here we are on screen again. Look, I saw the press release this morning. Wow, you must be pleased.
Very pleased. Yeah, so happy to go through that before we dive into other things. I think this is probably the best drilling results we've seen at our flagship project, Philibert. But if you allow me to just maybe put things back into context a little bit, right? So recent drilling results that we had, you'll remember we had more than 30 meters at about 2 grams a ton at the bottom of the pit, or I should say under the pit, so would add to the resource. Also under the pit, we had 19 meters of 2 grams a ton not too long ago. And the question was, okay, well, if we keep making the pit bigger, can we actually include this high-grade stuff as part of the pit shell going forward? And then you remember just very recently, we announced a new discovery. We came out with 18 meters of 2.4 gram. That includes 5 meters of 7 grams a ton. We also had a huge 50-meter long mineralization. So clearly this was a new discovery which opened the door now for an underground potential under the open pit at Philibert. So today's results, when I say they are exciting, now we are coming out with 21 meters of 4.8 grams a ton, which includes 7 meters of almost 12 grams a ton. We also are coming out with 22 meters of 2 grams a ton, which includes 10 meters of 3.5 grams a ton. So bluntly, I think safe to say we now have a high-grade mineralization under Philibert, which, by the way, is not unusual for the area. I'll remind you that IM Gold has Monster Lake in the camp, where they have 500,000 ounces at about 14 grams a ton. But to the new mineralization, the high-grade mineralization that we have, is exactly where you want it. It's exactly where it is the most valuable, because it's under an open pit, right? So think about it. So if you find an underground ore body that has a high grade, to access it, you'll need to sink a shaft, right? And obviously that's quite a bit of capex, and you're not making money sinking a shaft. But if it's under an open pit, then you mine the open pit first in order, and then you access the high grade with a ramp, right? So in other words, you're making money while accessing the high grade at depth. Right? So, I mean, don't get me wrong, like as a junior like us, you still have to fund the open pit capex and all of this. But especially in the current environment, like if you're a major with unlimited capital, which is pretty much the new reality now with gold at at 3,400, then you look at this type of scenario. You look at this and you say, wait, this is probably an underground mineralization now with negative capex, right? Because you actually make money, mining the open pit to reach that high grade mineralization. And I can't help myself but to think about Detour, right? Agnico acquired Detour for the open pit, and then last year they came out with a PEA for the underground mineralization. And I remember very well the CEO of Agnico was saying, with this PEA, we see an opportunity to transform Detour into one of the top 5 gold mines in the world by output. So the power of having a big underground high-grade mineralization right underneath an open pit is as good as it gets. So too early to say we have a full resource underground, but God, this is expanding very, very well.
Well, it is, and I've got to ask this question because in the context of the conference we were just at in Quebec last week, a lot of the majors were there. You had Agnica Eagle out in force, for instance. They came out en masse. You've got the chance to build something quite big here. You've got the chance to maybe be attractive to some of these guys. So what is happening at Chibougamau now? What are the plans for Chibougamau? Is the kind of a current environment changing your mind about how you come at Chibougamau?
Listen, my view, and I should say our view of Chibougamau hasn't changed. I feel very strongly that the next big camp to take off globally is right here in our backyard in Quebec, Canada. And I'm saying, like, you've seen the camp of, two camps in Yukon, right? Western and Central Yukon that have been doing very well, and a lot of companies did very well there, obviously, until the unfortunate events of Victoria. Doesn't take anything away from the fact that when a camp ramps up, it takes, it lifts all boats, if you want, right? Then you had the camp of Guyana, you had the camp of Finland that have been doing very well. And I don't see where else you're going to see a camp taking off as prime to take off like Chibougamau is. So I'll always say that what's good for IAMGOLD is good for us. And coming back to what changes there is, when you saw I mentioned the camp of Guyana. So when you saw the Chinese when they bought Guyana Goldfields, the other names in the camps did very well, right? G2 did very well, Reunion did very well, and all that because the Chinese became the driving force of the camp. Well, I think IAMGOLD will be the driving force of Chibougamau, just like Agnico has been the driving force in Finland. And Rupert did very well because of that. So, when I say, what's good, that's why I say what's good for IAMGOLD is good for us. Because when IAMGOLD will have Cote Lake in Ontario, when they'll have that on cruise control and completely de-risked, then, as was said in print by National Bank, IAMGOLD will move to Chibougamau for their next stage of growth, right? So the question is, how is IAMGOLD doing at Cote Lake? Well, IAMGOLD is a company with an incredible momentum right now. I'll point out that the CEO of IAMGOLD, Mr. Adams, recently acquired about $250,000 worth of stock in the public market. I would also mention that Franco-Nevada just paid about $1 billion for a royalty on Cote Lake. And they did, as per the press release, a full due diligence before doing that. And interestingly enough, they paid top dollar for it. As a matter of fact, I think they paid something like twice the value that the public market is attributing or is valuing IAMGOLD. So I remain a very happy shareholder of IAMGOLD, but I think IAMGOLD has incredible momentum. I think in the months ahead and the years ahead, Chibougamau is primed to take off. And also I'll mention, more and more people are asking IAMGOLD what's next after Côté, right? Because they're starting to see that Côté Lake, after all these years, is finally almost completely de-risked. So in their last conference call that IAMGOLD had, there's an analyst did ask the question, right? They said, "What about Nelligan? What's your plan there? How do you see that evolving?" And the response from the management team of IAMGOLD was, it's exactly the way we see the camp. What they said of Nelligan, they mentioned it's not only one resource. He said if you look at map and sketches, you'll see it's really a trend. It's really a camp. It's not limited to one deposit. He said we're thinking big when it comes to Nelligan. You mentioned also there's other areas in the camp that they have barely touched, so they seem to believe that there's plenty of other discoveries that could be made in this camp. He said, I don't see how this camp could not be, or why this camp could not be 15 million plus ounces. Well, that's exactly how we see it as well, right? And that's the reason, that was the core reason behind our strategy of the last few years, because we saw all these deposits, all of these ounces, all these resources so close to one another that if we could, consolidate them, it would make it easier for eventually, have a hub and spoke strategy, right? So all these ounces could feed the same mill. So by consolidating these ounces, we're making them more viable. Therefore, we're making these ounces more valuable. And after working on this for a few years, as soon as IAMGOLD has Côte Lake on cruise control, I think this will put a lot of spotlight on the Chibougamau gold camp. So it is primed to take off, and we're in a very good gold market for it as well.
For sure. Now, you talk about making the ounces more valuable, which, as you should do, but is there any opportunity here in terms of preemptive striking, preemptive consolidation of any remaining strategic land parcels, or is IAMGOLD ahead of you on that?
They have been. They have been buying a few things here and there. Nothing extremely material, but they've made a few small private transactions recently that we've seen. But also they bought Vanstar, right? Remember about a year and a half ago, they acquired Vanstar, which was their joint venture partner in the camp. Joint venture partner for Nelligan. So obviously it was the right time to do it, right? If you're IAMGOLD and you know that you're going to be creating a lot of value for the asset, then the right time to buy your joint venture partner is before you create all of this value. So if IAMGOLD is going to be the driving force of the camp, I think that gave me an idea for a new name for our company.
Go on then.
I have gold.
Okay. There's the winner.
Right.
If anyone's got better ideas, please send them in. Well, look, Simon, it's obviously you're working towards a plan, which I always like to see. And as you quite rightly say, there was a very positive environment for gold price doing for a lot of companies. What's the timing in all of this? And are you in a waiting game? Do you feel kind of in control? Are you sort of waiting for the dance partner to turn up, or is there lots to be done before then?
No, we're building ounces. So we've done 20,000 meter on Philibert in this winter drilling program, and now we're in the process of releasing these results. 20,000 meters is a heck of a program for a company our size. And we have a lot more, because remember, the Philibert is really expanding to the southeast. Then we're going to attack the northwest, and now we obviously going to keep building the underground mineralization. But don't forget, now we also need to move to the other things. We have the Lac Surprise project, which is the western extension of Nelligan. We also have Chevrier and Croteau, both of which have very respectful grade, right? Between, call it between 1 and 2 gram a ton for these resources. But both of these systems are huge. That provides an enormous amount of blue sky potential to keep building ounces. So we have plenty of things to do. Don't think we're waiting around. That's not what we're doing. Expect more.
Okay, and obviously, as you say, with the potential for underground below the pit, that's very, very encouraging in terms of the scale of the opportunity here. I guess people will want to start seeing some economics around this, some sort of activity around metallurgy, understanding the mining method and all of that sort of good stuff. You working towards that?
Yeah, so the metallurgy is another good point that you mentioned, right? Our metallurgy has been responding very well. It's a very simple metallurgy at Philibert, which again allows for optimizing the camp, right? And I always make the point, the Chibougamau gold camp, just between IAMGOLD and us, already you've got 12.4 million ounces that have been defined in different resources. And it's going to grow a lot. There's no doubt it's going to grow a lot, but you already have the size, right? So to me, at this point, the best way to create value is by optimizing things, right? And that's why we said since day one, for 3 years, we've been saying we look at this camp as one potential big project because there's so much value in optimizing. What I mean by that is you can lower the payback period of the entire camp if you make sure that you mine and process the most valuable material first, which will significantly drop your payback period. And the way to do that is to go after higher grade, obviously, and good metallurgy. And our metallurgy has been reacting very well at 93, 95% plus recovery. So that hasn't changed. It's been the plan from day one.
Well, I appreciate you making time for us this morning. We will see you soon. Cheers, sir.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate your time.